connect with us on all our ATN socials on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, as a tradition is, I'll introduce my guests to you and we'll dive right into it. Please stay with us.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all your bets on the app. Around the globe, stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Here with me in the studio is my amazing guest, Ms. Frances Omagbemi, a pastor and health and wellness promoter. We are glad to have you join us on the show today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Let's go right into it. In River State, Executive Chairman of Obiakpo Local State Chijioke Iwunho, in a decisive move to prevent further gas explosions and protect residents, has sealed off a gas refilling station located in Rumukuta. Acting on a tip-off, Iwunho led a team to the site, declaring the closure a safety measure rather than a witch hunt. He cited the station's proximity to residential homes as a grave risk to the community. The location of this business in a residential area is unreasonable, Iwunho stated. I will not allow the lives of our people to be endangered. The council chairman issued a 24-hour ultimatum to the station owner to dismantle the facility, warning that the council would take action if compliance was not met. Iwunho also directed the council's chief security officer to seize the equipment. This action follows a recent gas explosion in the Orazi area, which underscored the urgent need for enhanced safety measures. Ihonhon further announced the formation of an 11-member committee tasked with dismantling illegal cooking gas refilling points across local communities. This proactive stance aims to safeguard lives and property, reinforcing the Council's commitment to stricter safety regulations. This story, Madam Francis, has it's been on for a few weeks. This happened just rightly after, into the new year, where the explosion happened in Oreze. What are your thoughts on this stringent measures being applied by the council boss?
Yeah, it's a good thing that the attention has been drawn to it, because ordinarily one would believe that there are departments of states that have the oversight to determine where areas where gas refilling stations or these domestic ones can be sited. But of recent, you notice that gas refilling stations, miniature stations, they are everywhere, even within the living quarters of people, which is so unreasonable. But, this is Nigeria, and we just live by faith, because most of the departments are not even doing what they are supposed to do. So people's lives are just left at the mercy of whatever happens. Look at the sad incidents that happened, and the pain people have to go through. And this is happening across the country. It's not just in Rivers State. So I just hope it's not our usual reactionary actions, because we are always reactionary. We don't take preventive measures. We are not proactive. It's when there is emergency, or according to what our people say, when dead body don't fall. That's when you see people turning to look. So I pray and I hope that this is a sincere, conscientious decision, not political word that they will just say, we want to do this, and before you know, you start seeing all of them operating again.
Right. Thank you so much for your insight on that one. Now, when you look at it, right, these gas stations have been stationed in different places around town. There has to be a body that gives the approval for this station to be built at this point. Right? When someone opens a business like a gas plant, it is a business. The person is in it to make profit. Now, some people go as far as taking loans, to build those stations in the afterthought that they will make profits for themselves and be able to clear out their loans. Now, this move by the council boss, moving around and closing the stations, what are your thoughts on it as regards these people that are in business?
Yes, it's good. We know they want to make profit, but if you understand that, why site your gas station in a place that is, according to the local government chair, that the location of this particular one they are sealing off, it's not a good site, because it's within the living environment.
Right. What
so
then
did
is
he
the
get
job
an
of
approval?
That's where I was calling. Yes. What then is the job of the council that approves, that gives this approval?
That's the problem. That's where the problem lies. So it's not just the owner of the business that is going to suffer all those. You are saying remove the equipment. I don't think there are equipment that you can just remove overnight. So there are costs involved. There are decisions that must be put in place. So this man he has to remove it, but they should also consider his own cost. What is going to be involved? He's going to be losing money. It may even be likely that he's owing, he used a loan, and which he must be repaying back. So these are damages to people, and it's because of the failure of the regulatory body or the personnel's responsible. So if you want this thing removed, if that man has an improvement, then I think the onions is on the council, maybe to fund whatever, and even refund that man if he actually got a permit to site that gas plant in that location. If he got a legal permit to site it, then it's on the state or the department to now say, okay, we made a mistake. We have to relocate you.
But don't you think that is one mistake too many? Where I live, we have just one, down my street. We have another one by the bus stop. Now, when you come, there's a cross, a cross junction, and down this cross junction this way, there is another one. Don't you think that is one too many approvals approvals for people with the stations living within residential areas?
So it's the failure of the department, basically.
This proactive measure by the council boss of saying we are closing this down. Given, I just told you, just around one vicinity, I already counted 3. I don't know every other street in town. There are many gas stations all over the place. There was a gas explosion accident also around, what's it called, where you're headed towards Rukboku area.
Okay.
I think it was last year or year before last. Why wasn't this measure being taken now, taken then? That is also Obiakpo.
That is it. That's
right. So why do you think this one that sadly it's a very sad uprising? I did see the video of certain people that got burnt. Many people coming from evangelism and all of that. The location of that particular person was in a caravan.
Imagine.
And he's been doing that business there. What are your thoughts as regards this, the council boss looking more into what caused that explosion in that area rather than closing down all gas stations that are sited within the local government?
I think if I'm just trying to infer, I think what he's saying, gas plants or filling stations that are not sited in appropriate locations.
But most of it are currently in residential areas.
They should be removed. It's never too late to start doing the right thing before all of us will be blown up one day. It's never too late. And we can't, because it's one too many all over the places, so we should just close our eyes to it. There should be a point where that insanity clears off our head and we say, okay, now let's think and do the right thing. I think it's for the general good. Right. Yes.
So where do you think these gas stations and these businesses, where do they pack these equipment to? Where do they start? Given the cost of living currently,
it's on the roof.
Is on the roof.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody is simply trying to get just beginning. And someone's business is going to be shut down. Source of livelihood, probably children's tuition, probably no other adequate business. Their livelihood is over.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts as regards this? Instead of when you look at it with the stringent approach he's using, do you think there are better ways to navigate through these things without actually, taking away someone's source of livelihood, in effect?
That is, if we have compassionate or understanding government, people that care about the welfare of the citizen. But if you look around you, you know that that's not what we have. Our government don't seem to give us that feeling that they care about you and I. So whatever your pain is does not really matter to them. That's why somebody can just say, shut it down, not minding the reality that will come with that decision. So there should be a better way. Invite all of them. Everyone that owns all those makeshift plants in residential area, summon them, have a round table, and proffer solution, maybe relocate them or kind of incentivize them in some little ways,
right?
So that they can now say, okay, they are not monsters, they are humans like us. It's economy that is driving people into, they even know that I shouldn't put this thing here, but God will protect us. We have to survive. So I think the chairman should also consider that you can't just push them out to where? Where are they moving the equipment to their living home or what? So there should be a round table. They should invite them and do something to help them relocate because they need to relocate.
Right.
They need to. But they shouldn't just be left like that.
Thank you so much. Very well then. That was a great input on it. We move straight up to National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control. NAFDAC has highlighted its struggle with a severe staff shortage, which threatens its ability to effectively execute its regulatory responsibilities. At a press briefing in Lagos on Thursday, NAFDAC's Director General Professor Mojisola Christiana Adeyeye reflected on the agency's achievement over the past 7 years while unveiling its 5-pillar transformation agenda for 2025. She identified the agency's most critical need as an adequately staffed workforce, stating that the shortage poses a significant challenge to achieving its goals. According to Adeyeye, NAFDAC requires 10,000 staff members to meet its regulatory mandate, but currently has only 2,000 employees nationwide. She described the workforce as overstretched despite the agency's vast responsibilities, which include safeguarding public health and maintaining Nigeria's global regulatory standards. To meet the World Health Organization's global benchmark requirements, NAFDAC plans to engage volunteers to support its operations while awaiting statutory approval for additional hires. Adeyeye explained. She emphasized that the volunteers would undergo the same stringent recruitment processes as regular staff to ensure competence and integrity. Efforts to address the staffing crisis include seeking increased funding to facilitate recruitment, improve staff remuneration, and enhance capacity building through training programs targeting regulatory inspection, post-marketing surveillance, and clinical trial monitoring. Adeyeye also noted the importance of collaboration with strategic partners such as the Nigerian Customs Service, NDLEA, and the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria to share knowledge and streamline regulatory operations. The Director General concluded by reaffirming NAFDAC's commitment to protecting public health, calling for timely enforcement of the executive order on local content, and urging greater government support to address the agency's staffing crisis. Our efforts are driven by a singular purpose, safeguarding the health of the nation. Together, we can achieve a safer, healthier Nigeria, she said. Now, lots of people get out of the university these days. And when they're out of school, there are no jobs.
No jobs.
People try to get into youth service. When they're done with that, going to states that, you know, have been obviously said to be unsafe. People go over there for youth service to serve the nation, risk it all, and they come back to no job. What are your thoughts when you look at that as regards the story of understaffing in NAFDAC?
It's ironic. Ironic in the sense that you just narrated our ordeal, our daily reality, no job. And this is an organization that is tasked with such an important responsibility to safeguard the health of the nation. Imagine them, they telling us that the minimum that at least they need should be about 10,000 staff. And here you see NAFDAC operating with 2,000 across the nation. Do we now wonder why we have the crisis in our society, fake drugs, contaminated, expired drugs? Because if 1,000 people are supposed to run a department and you have 2,000, there is no magic they can do. There is limit to human endurance and capacity.
Right.
They will definitely crack. At the end of the day, they become even useless to themselves. They might not even be able to carry out the simplest task on their desk because of stress and overload.
Right.
And here is a society that people are dying to get something to do. No job. It's so, in fact, it makes us wonder if we are reasoning properly in this country. And now they need to get, what did she call it?
Approval.
Volunteers.
Yes, they want to get volunteers.
They want to get what kind of volunteers? Is it like making an arrangement for like what you call freelancers, or what do you have, so that they don't have a condition, they are not placed on any special condition, you just use the free labor? Is that, I don't know what it is. But I think it's a matter of urgency. Right. That any office that is responsible to grant them that approval for employment, they should be given the approval.
Yes.
And at least take those 8,000 people off the unemployment market.
Thank you so much for your insight on that. Now, you know, when this when I read through this story, right, I was like, few weeks ago we talked about how several places have been busted with fake drinks. I'm talking about basic as Fanta, basic as then you go to alcohol, which has now posed a huge health risk as regards many young people having kidney problems just now.
It's a crisis.
Is a huge crisis, right? Now, when you look at the structure of how things are progressing, I think I had a guest over here that said something about when I had that discourse, the guest mentioned when you look at the places where these buildings are situated, if NAFDAC was a working organization, it is impossible that they do not know that those people are stationed.
It means that nobody is even checking them.
Exactly what I wanted to ask you. Do you think now it has become so prevalent, and these places where these people do these things is usually dirty and unkept? For some reason, I mean, you want to make a fake product. You've decided that you want to be a bad person. What's the harm in cleaning the area where you're doing it? But they intentionally, most of them are, you know, they have stagnant water in these rooms, just sitting there. Now, do you think that this has become a growing trend? Last week, we heard about how a particular drug for cancer for women, there's now a fake variation that's been moving around, and all the doctors were told to be on high alert. Because do you think all this prevalent and sad situation is increasingly occurring because of this understaffed issues as described by the boss?
Because there's no synergy in the system. I think NAFDAC, most of these drugs, they are imported. We have customs. And I think NAFDAC should have a synergy with the customs before these things get into this country. But things move freely. The only things that are being monitored is when you and I will want to do our normal business. That's when they clamp down on you. But the illegal ones, nobody is responsible anymore. Why would people as small as pure water? Before, NAFDAC used to go around, you know, we hear they close some places where they are producing water below standard. But that is all history. We no longer hear such things. And you see all the sachets with NAFDAC number. And some of them, you pick it, you can virtually see deaths, worms inside. You know, so I think NAFDAC need to, beyond just even talking about getting staff, they need to really up their game, you know, and they know that they are tasked with preserving the health of the nation. Look at drinks, as small as Fanta, you mentioned it, not even the hot drinks, not the alcoholic drink now. Fanta and what have you, you buy it, you are drinking what you don't know. And there are people responsible to check these things. I think it's an urgent situation. I think if they don't have the capacity, they should even be able to take more than that 10,000, so that everybody can, every hand's on deck, then you can achieve the goal. That's the way I look at it.
Now, given that NAFDAC as a body has a huge allocation, do you think that allocation simply goes to paying just 2,000 people? How does that, when you think about it, I mean?
I wouldn't know until, you know, their internal operations and what have you. It's not open to us. We might not be able to discuss that here. But whatever it is, with the allocations they get, it depends on the strength of their staff.
Because they said they are understaffed, and they said they would need more funding to add 10,000 people. To add 10,000,
more funding. It's always more funding. Let them, whatever they need, that's what I'm saying. Because there are things you cannot toy with. And I will even appeal to the NAFDAC, even the 2,000 that are there right now. They should not even think of toying with their duties, no matter how stressed or whatever. So they should give them more funding if that's what they will need to be effective.
Right.
If that's what will help them do their job and stop these criminals from destroying the lives of innocent Nigerians.
Right.
There are so many things going on, so many things. The other time it was a pastor that was selling water or whatever, or soap, and he said NAFDAC, he has NAFDAC approval. But we later found out that NAFDAC denied that. They didn't even give any. Who is seen to all these things? How can a product be out claiming they have approval and NAFDAC is not seeing it? You know, until a random guy.
One too many oversights.
Yes. So it's a crisis situation. So I think the government should really pay attention to NAFDAC. Thank
you so much. Well, we'll go on a short break, and when we get back, we continue with the rest of the stories. Please stay with us.
From the line to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Now to the rest of the stories. Ogba Chief Magistrate Court in Lagos State has ordered the remand of a 45-year-old primary school teacher, Stella Nwandigbo, at the Kirikiri Correctional Center for allegedly assaulting a 3-year-old pupil in Ikorodu. The teacher was caught on video slapping the young child during classes, with the footage quickly going viral and sparking widespread outrage. Following the incident, Nwandigbo was arrested and detained by the Family Support Unit FSU of the Ikorodu Police Division. Lagos State Police Public Relations Officer Benjamin Hundeyi confirmed that the teacher was arraigned on Thursday at Magistrate Court 1, Ogba. He noted that the arraignment was ordered by the State Commissioner of Police, Olerewaju Ishola, under the charges of indecent treatment and assault of a child. Preliminary investigations revealed the suspect was captured in a viral video indecently treating and assaulting a 3-year-old pupil of a primary school in Ikorodu, Hundeyi stated. Upon receiving the video, the Family Support Unit promptly arrested Nwandigbo on Wednesday, January 8, 2025. She was subsequently transferred to the Gender Unit of the Command Headquarters for further investigation. The victim has since been taken to a medical facility for treatment and observation. The court ordered ordered Wandigbo's remand at the Kirikiri Correctional Center until February 18, 2025, when the case is scheduled for continuation of hearing. The Lagos State Commissioner of Police praised citizens for promptly reporting the incident and assured the public of the command's commitment to safeguarding the rights and safety of residents and visitors in Lagos State. The swift response to this case underscores the Lagos State Police Command's resolve to ensure the protection of vulnerable individuals, Hundeyin added. What are your thoughts on this story?
Well, when I first saw the story, I asked 3-year-old in the primary school. I tried to put it together. I think, number one, that child is too young to be in the primary school, except... but you know, these days parents are always pushing the children and what have you. And it's really very sad for Wandigbo, or a lot of our teachers are not trained. They don't have the educational training to handle children. A lot of people in the school system, teachers and what have you, they are just there for... let's get something to survive, or not because they have passion for academic or to train or to impart knowledge, you know. So this is one case that it's not isolated. No, it's not an isolated case. It's just unfortunate for her, or it's good for us that this was captured, you know, because if it wasn't captured, it would have been like the several in the system.
Right now, right, you rightly mentioned the teachers not being trained.
Yes.
Now, do you think that this? I want to ask this question, but I'm even trying to figure out a better way to ask it, because when you look at the public schools, do those teachers in public schools, which are government-owned schools, get some form of, you know, training as regards things like anger management? Their mental health, do you think is being processed? Now, when you look at it also from you said most of them do not want to work, right? They don't want to
teach.
They don't want to teach. They are basically there because life is hard and everybody needs a thing to do to get by, right? Now, how do these schools, both private and government-owned schools, ascertain the fitness of a person? What measures do you think should be put in place to ascertain the psychological fitness of a person, the mental fitness, other than the fact that, can you teach math? Oh yeah, I can do math. Can you teach English? Basically, that is the question that is being asked, right? How do you think these schools will progress from this? Because like you said, this is not an isolated case. It's just because this came out to the limelight, right? Which, in my opinion, if I would say so myself, is not a bad idea that this came out, because it's giving everybody an overview of what really happens behind the curtains, right? Now, what sort of trainings, what sort of measures should both government-owned schools and private-owned schools put in place to make sure that their teachers and their staff members are well evaluated before employment?
I think to go to those even extent, it's like jumping the bridge. Number one, I think we have a teacher training college and what have you, you know. For you to be an educationist, they have their own special training. But I think this time around, you see people, okay, you are a graduate, okay, you have a certificate in this, not people who are trained as teachers.
Right.
So if they have that basic teacher training as a background, it would do a lot. Right. It would do a lot for them before even thinking about evaluating their mental health and what have you. And, you know, I was discussing with a friend and she was telling me in those days when they were in the class, you see even from the Ministry of Education, they will send people to the classrooms to come and see how the children are being taught. You will be in the class, you will see some men and women enter your class, they will just sit behind and be listening to what the teacher is doing, how he's teaching.
Uninformed and
yes, uninformed. They don't inform them. But I don't think anything like that happens again.
Why do you think the system has fallen behind so badly?
When a system is corrupt, it's a rough. And when a wound putrefies, it spreads down everywhere. That's what is happening. It's touching every angle in the society. They will just come and they will just, at the end of the class, they will ask the teachers question based on what you are teaching the children. So then teachers used to sit or prepare themselves, you know, and I think they used to have teachers' retreats where a lot of all these things are considered, how you handle children, empathy, understanding the mind of the children. Because you have to understand children before you can teach children.
Right.
So, but all that is missing. And so you just see people, they carry their frustration, they just pour it out on the innocent children or some recalcitrant children too. You know, there's a way when you have the proper training, there's a way to handle your job. And I think this woman, it's so sad that this child in question is a very young child.
Right. Did you get to see the video?
I saw her. I didn't see her assaulting. I just saw her picture.
Oh,
and
let me give you a little backstory. Now.
Okay.
So, you know, this is a continuation of the series of this event, of this story, you know, on the show, because we actually broke when we talked
when
about
it came up.
when it broke,
Okay.
right? So let me give you some backstory. Right?
Okay.
Children have just come back from holidays.
What do we do at Christmas? We eat rice. Christmas is for eating rice, running up and down, playing, visiting you haven't seen. In fact, basically, I would say when I was small, what we do is we go from one place to the other to eat. My dad would say, "Your stomach will boss." Basically, the plan is he would say, "Eat at home before you go," because when you get to those people's house, you want to run all around.
Eat.
Christmas, children just want to eat, play with their family, their friends, their cousins. Nobody has an interest in wanting to go back to reading because that is what you've done prior to the holiday, you know, to be pending to the holidays. Now, during the holidays, these children have played. School resumed on the 6th for many people. She was trying to ask the boy the numbers, and he was making an error, and that is what prompted the slap. And the magnitude of the hit to the cheek is not befitting for an adult, let alone a three-year-old, right? Now, which brings me to the other thing I want to talk about as regards this topic, where do you think this judgment of remanding her in Kirikiri prison, do you think it's a fair enough judgment as regards, do you think you know, she should have probably been let alone, let go with a warning, some form, you know, so maybe not something not as strict as, you know, being remanded till 18th of February. Do you think there would have been, you know, a lighter punishment in the regard of her actions instead of being remanded till 18th? Given that 18th is almost a month, at least a month.
Yes, it's a stringent punishment, but again, I don't know what made them come to that decision.
Because I think, in my opinion, I think the weight of the slap was quite heavy.
It was aggressive, the aggression.
And it was twice. Quick succession.
So maybe they are just using it to sound like, to let others learn that hey, it's not just you just be corrected or you just be warned. You will go through some pain yourself. Because they can't just call her and start slapping her. No. You know, the law. So maybe when she comes out, they might now give her lighter terms or what have you. Right. But this remanding is actually the the critical punishment for her. So, and I'm sure she's going to learn, and others too will learn from this.
And you think this will act as a deterrent, like you said?
Yes, I definitely think it will act. They'll be more careful.
Right. Careful to try to do it behind the camera.
Careful, because you may not know who will even capture you.
Right. Know. Thank you so much for your insight on that one. Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, who Horewa has expressed deep concerns over recent revelations by the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa regarding the inability of Nigerian intelligence agencies to trace and disrupt the financial and training networks that have sustained Boko Haram for over 15 years. The association described the situation as a scathing indictment of Nigeria's intelligence institutions and has an alarming failure to justify their substantial annual budgets. During an interview with Al Jazeera, General Musa reportedly called for a United Nations-led investigation into the international flow of funds to Boko Haram. He questioned how the insurgents have managed to sustain their operations for such a prolonged period and suggested potential international conspiracies at play. Horewa highlighted the paradox of a nation with established intelligence institutions failing to curtail the financial and logistical support for insurgent groups. The association questioned the operational effectiveness of key security agencies, including the Directorate of Military Intelligence (DMI), Department of State Services (DSS), and Nigerian Intelligence Agency (NIA). These agencies are critical to safeguarding national security. The DMI gathers military intelligence, the DSS handles internal security, and the NIA oversees foreign intelligence. Together, they should form a robust intelligence network, but Boko Haram continues to thrive, Horewa said. Through his national coordinator, Emmanuel Omubiko, the group noted
what we've not been all saying and seeing. So I think it's up to them the day the departments, those tasked with these responsibilities, the day they decide that they want to end insurgency or those people behind the insurgency, the day they decide, then it will end. Because it's a joke. It's a joke in a country where you have all these departments of these agencies.
Well-funded.
Funded beyond even what you have in other climes, and they are doing their work excellently. And here we have all these departments with all the funds, and Boko Haram walk through their nose, executes their terror, and they walk away. Drones in our space. Am I the one that will go and intercept drones? Where are the special agents
that are trained,
equipped to handle, to monitor, to secure the airspace, secure the movements, even the movement of funds and what have you? They are telling us they will monitor our WhatsApp communications and what have you, and these people communicate. These people move freely, and they don't know what to do.
Now, I want you to hold on to that thought. You know that we have NIN, we have BVN. All of these measures that were put in place to trace finances.
Yes.
Do you think it has helped in a way?
That's why I said the day they are ready to end it, it will end. Instead, all those things they are bringing up is just to burden the citizens, is not actually to achieve the aim they are announcing to us. How do they move their fund? Look at kidnappers, for instance. How do they get their fund out of the system? They bring the insurgent, they come in with sophisticated equipment. How do those equipment get into the country? So it's a big laugh, and I believe when it is time and they make up their mind, we're going to see the end of it.
When will that time come?
When will it come? I don't know.
You do agree that Boko Haram, has given an uprise to other fractions.
Other cells have risen.
Because Boko Haram wasn't tackled.
Yes.
Now you hear things like the government is trying to fight Lakwara, and they're trying to fight this. What measures do you think these agencies coming together, do you think it will make any difference as regards if they put all of their resources together? I met a man that told me about how his uncle would say, For fun, he wakes up in the morning and gets into a train and thinks of from Abia or where was his uncle, and he travels to the north to relax for a week. You can't take those trips nowadays.
No, you can't. It's at the risk of your life.
It's at the risk of your life. Given that we have people, women, men, children, vulnerable people living in all of these areas, you know, and we want to preach empathy, as it were, what measures do you think these people will put in place, or what do you think would provoke the empathy of the security agencies to realize that they are dealing with human beings and safeguard those people?
Yeah, I think the only thing that will provoke and awaken their conscience is when the terror gets directly to them and their own people close to them. Because I think the way they see it, when you say they kill this, it's just a number to them. They don't even attach meaning to it. But I think when it touches them, you see, I can't remember one specific case, and they were trying to move heaven and earth because one of their people was involved. So it's when it touches them, and when the thing turns the other way, maybe they will now, their conscience will be awakened, and the day they now come together in agreement, when there is understanding between these agents, and agreement between these agents that we want to stop this, then it will stop. Right now, maybe one agent is trying to stop it, another one is closing his eyes to it for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Abacha rightly said that there's a quote by Abacha, which is going to be our last, end point for this discourse. Okay. Abacha said that if a problem of insecurity has lasted over 24 hours, the government is involved. Yeah. What are your thoughts when you look at it, and look at that statement, and given that Boko Haram has been in existence 16 years?
Yeah, I take it 100% that Abacha knew exactly what he was talking about, that Boko Haram cannot be in Nigeria if the Nigerian state is not behind their presence here. I think I want to agree 100% with Abacha.
Thank you very much for your insight on that one. Well, this is where we wrap it up on this episode of Atlantic Society Watch. Thank you so much, Lady Frances, for being here.
Pleasure.
Really, really grateful for all of your insight and input on the stories. We hope we get to see better in the coming days and in the coming years.
Hopefully.
We're open for advert placement, news and events coverage, personality, society and political interviews, product, service promotion and commercials. Remember to connect with us on all our ATN socials on Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network on Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network. We are on Twitter on Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you so much for watching. I am Otaria Benjamin. Please stay with us.